Welcome into a live, brand new edition, Tuesday edition of the Desmond Johnson Show. My man from WFMY Sports, Jaelen, Gilkey, back in the house. We're back on our regular rotation. 3 things I loved, hated from this past weekend. We'll get into that with Jaelen. If you want to comment, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever the kids are calling it these days, YouTube, Instagram Live, hit us on any of those. We can answer it live while we're here on the air. Get your lunchtime. Get your sports fix in. It's the Desmond Johnson Show. Go ahead and roll the intro.
Live with Desmond Johnson, son, the live is one. Represent NC to the fullest.
Yeah, welcome to the Carolinas. Everywhere you go, the sky is Carolina blue, the finest. Live action, feedback, the city needs that. I've been #1, no cap. Here's the recap. Adrenaline is my addiction. I'm about to relapse. Step on the turf if you want and get your weed whacked. I'm going harder than a martyr on the starter end. It's the heart of man, that's a rap like a cardigan. I'm breaking records, it's 4th and inches, I count the seconds. The over-under's my roar of thunder, my secret weapon. Yeah, the game is to be told. I don't break, I break modes. Follow me on Tobacco Road.
Live with Desmond Johnson, son, the live is one. Represent NC to the fullest.
And welcome into a Tuesday edition of the Desmond Johnson Show, brought to you by Emergency Responders Credit Union in Winston-Salem, over off of Link Road. If you're an emergency responder that works in the Triad, you're looking for financial services, Emergency Responders Credit Union is for you. Definitely go check them out here on this beautiful Tuesday. Need to pull out the coats and the scarves and stuff, though, Jaelen, because it's my understanding when we get to Friday for Friday Night Football, it's going to be like 27 degrees outside or something nuts. So welcome to November. Welcome to
it's not looking great for Friday night, but we stay hopeful and prayerful.
I'm gonna be in a warm press box in Kernersville as East Forsyth taking on West Forsyth Part 2. That's a second round game in the West Regional that we'll have on Tobacco Road Sports Radio and WTOB in Forsyth County. On the other side, Grimsley motoring through the other side of the West 4A bracket. They are taking on Southeast Guilford. So we got some Metro 4A on Metro 4A violence and some CPC on CPC violence over on the other side. The Grimsley games on WCOG and, of course, on TobaccoRoadSportsRadio.com. 3 things I loved, hated this weekend, what we usually do on Tuesdays when I have Jaelen in the house. I got to start off with Friday night. Did my game. It seemed like a lot of high school football games ended early, like on a Friday, because I was done at like 9 o'clock. Like we were doing like 2 hours.
First round of playoffs is a lot of bad teams.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah,
a lot of 2 and 8s, a lot of 3 and 7s.
It felt like the refs were ready to go home. Yeah,
I mean, I went to a couple games. I went to I was at Grimsley. I can't remember who they played, but they won 63-0.
Yeah, I don't think it mattered who whoever it was.
Yeah, Western Guilford. So they
Western
played Western Guilford. They lost 63-0, and I went to Dudley and whoever they played, and that game was hideous too. So
Dudley's only allowed 15 points all year. Like
they've only allowed 2 points the last 5 games.
That's ridiculous. That is nuts. Like, and the reclassification is about to happen next year. I think it's going to benefit Dudley more than any other school in the state because they're in such a bad conference, being in 3A and where they are. Their RPI never can get high enough to be like the 1 seed or the 2 seed in 3A. So they're like the 11 seed or something nuts.
They're 5 this year.
There's something. They're way lower than they're supposed to be. But everybody knows it's Dudley and Hickory in 3A, pretty much in the West. Like they're on a collision course, more than likely. I think Kings Mountain's floating around in there too. So, just good stuff. Huff Independence round 2 game this week too. So keeping an eye on the 704. It's playoff time, and of course with the schools that we have between Grimsley and East Forsyth, one of them, if not both, are going to get pretty deep into this. And the playoffs got pushed back a week or so. So the championships are like December 21st, 22nd, if I'm not mistaken.
The 20th and the 21st.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure we signed up to do the East-West All-Star game at Grimsley, I think December 23rd or something like that. So we'll see how playoffs affect all that too, and everything else. We got basketball, everything's going on right now. We got Mount Tabor taking on Southwest Guilford tomorrow night on Tobacco Road Sports Radio. So men's basketball kicking off, and that'll be on WPOL in Winston-Salem for the season for their home games. But I wanted to get into the 3 things I love, hated this week. Friday, got home. That's what I was going through. I got home early at 9 o'clock, turned on my laptop, put it on Netflix for the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight, turned on the TV because Carolina had played American earlier while I was doing my football game. So I had both going at the same time. The buffering issues with Netflix, I hated. Like they're about to start doing. They're doing 2 live Christmas Day games for the NFL this year. WWE is going to be bringing Raw to over here live in January, and it made me worried. I'm like, yo, how y'all going to do this? Every time they do a live event on Netflix, it messes up like all the time. Those they did I think the roast of Tom Brady was live. There was a couple things they've tried to do live that just haven't worked out, and then this match starts, and for starters, the 2 girls that fought before Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, that was the main event. Like those girls was boxing, like they were going at it, and I think the wrong girl might have won. I think the girl that had the busted eye probably should have won, but I think the other girl won, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I can't remember. It was Serrano and can't remember.
Yeah, and then Paul Tyson happens. I know you watched the fight. Give me your thoughts on what did we get duped? It basically is the question I want to ask because.
I don't know if we got duped because everybody already had Netflix. So
true, we didn't pay extra for it. Yeah.
I didn't really anticipate it to be a good fight. I didn't think it was going to be a good product, and it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. Just kind of another exhibition, another kind of cherry picking situation for Jake Paul, and he gets the claim of beating Mike Tyson, but. I mean, the man is almost 3 times his age at this point in his life. So
yeah, like
it's like it's so. I mean, I get it. I understand. The money that is there, the money that was generated just around the hype and everything around it. But I was hoping if it was going to be canceled after the first incident when Mike Tyson was having those health issues, because I knew this wasn't going to be a good product. Nothing that anybody wanted to see. There was the off chance that Mike could just sleep him, and that's what a lot of people were probably hoping for. But
it was kind of like the video game. It was kind of like Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Like I think we all felt in our head if Jake Paul can get past the first minute and 30 seconds, then it's going to turn into something completely different. That's literally the video game. If you can get past the first round or whatever, then you can kind of wear him out. And to me, because I got caught up in it too, we felt like we were going to see 27-year-old Jake Paul versus 1989 Mike Tyson, and that man has been gone for 30 years or whatever. Like he ain't coming back.
It's 2024, so I don't understand how you would think that.
Just the nostalgia. Well, and actually the training videos, like because the training videos they were putting out, that's not what the Mike Tyson was doing on Friday. The training videos that they put out the past half year, like he was looking good, fast, power.
I feel it, bro, but I mean, it's a controlled training situation. Like,
and I didn't think he was going to win per se, but I didn't think it would.
What that reminds me of? Perfect example. That's like every summer Ben Simmons would drop a new 3-point shooting video, and everybody's like, "Oh, Ben Simmons got the jumper now." I'm like, no, he don't. No, he don't. He does not have the jumper now.
See, I can't use that.
He come in the regular season, what? No jumper.
I can't use that because Ben Simmons never had a jumper. Like we remember Mike with the uppercut and the power and all that stuff.
But I'm saying it's a controlled situation. You know what I'm saying? It's a controlled element. It's training. Yeah. I mean, you going full speed and it looks good, but it's still not game speed. There's a difference between full speed and game speed.
True.
Always.
True. Yeah. And Jake Paul, I gained some respect for Jake Paul on Friday night, which I never thought I would because I'm not a big fan of Jake Paul or Logan Paul for that matter, but he could have knocked Mike Tyson out. Like if they were like really going at it, he was at a point about mid third, fourth round where Mike looked like he was just hanging on. If he really got aggressive, he could have put some damage on Mike. And I don't think anybody wanted to see it. And I know Jake did himself a favor by not doing that. I think he gained more fans by holding back pretty much. And then I saw that they kind of had a wink agreement anyway to just kind of go easy on each other, to not really go after each other, and everything else has been for theater. The Mike Tyson slap at the weigh-in and all that kind of stuff was just to drum up interest in the fight, and it worked. So they had the largest I think I just saw it on ESPN a minute ago. They had the largest non-Vegas gate. The gate for that fight was $18.1 million. So it's the combat sport record outside of Las Vegas. And I believe might be $20 million on this match. I think Jake Paul made 30. Stream live on Netflix. It's the 9th highest combat sports gate ever in the U.S. history. Set the record as the highest grossing gate at AT&T Stadium for a combat sports event. Previous gate in Texas was Canelo Alvarez 2021 fight against Billy Joe Saunders that raked in 9 million. 60 million viewers tuned in to this fight on Netflix. If you could see it, that was part of it that I hated.
That's what I'm more concerned about because when this football come on and then now Beyonce about to perform at this Houston Ravens game.
Oh Lord, it's going to be so many problems.
I don't even think this is going to work. I don't even know if we're going to be able to see the game.
how can Netflix have so much money and not be able to get this right? Like, just increase the latency of your buffers, man. Like, if we know how to do it here in our living rooms, like, come on, Netflix, like, figure this out. Because you can't. It's one thing to do it during a fight like that or a one-off, but if you're going to be doing NFL games and WWE and stuff like that on a long-term basis, y'all got almost more money than anybody than Amazon and Google or whatever. Like, figure it out. Buy stuff, figure it out. So we'll see how they do regarding that. That was one of the things from this weekend that I saw. One of the other three things that I saw that popped up has to do with Deion Sanders, Colorado head coach Deion Sanders, primetime Deion Sanders. The Colorado Buffaloes are in position to potentially win the Big 12. They were picked, I think, to finish 11th or something in the conference, and they're sitting here, with just 2 losses going into the bottom part of November. And it's already kind of being assumed that Deion is not going to be there much longer once Shedeur is gone. And I said it when he took the job, Deion doesn't stay anywhere really long. Like, his whole career, he's never been anywhere more than like 5 years at the most. Even NFL Network, he wasn't there for a long period of time. I think Dallas might have been the longest place he was at. And even that was 5-6 years or something like that. He bounces around like all over. So when he took the Colorado job, I never expected it to be like a 20-year thing. Where should he go next? Because I don't think Colorado has the money to keep him. And there's a notion that there's a team down in Dallas that's probably going to be looking for a head coach after whatever they're doing.
I don't understand why everybody keeps, trying to link these two. I understand, Deion is a great brand.
He played for him.
Deion is a great coach. And I understand he played. But I don't really think he's a NFL type coach. I don't. I think his expectations from the guys are too high to coach in NFL. I think his expectations from what he wants from his, not just the staff, but when you switch lanes from collegiate level coach to NFL coach, there's a shift in attitude and mentality, right? Yeah. Most guys are no longer hungry, no longer driven, no longer trying to accomplish something. A lot of guys are just cashing checks, especially the way Dallas looked. Yeah. So when you get in a room like that and the guys don't have that fire for the game or the passion for the game that you have as a former player who's a Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it, I think he's better suited with youth, with kids that are trying to accomplish a goal, who are trying to feed their family, who are trying to reach a certain level. Now, I'm not saying these things don't apply to NFL rosters and the NFL players, but those goals, that drive, that aspiration is more widespread throughout a college roster. And I think that's where he's better suited, to prepare guys to be able to get to the NFL instead of getting to the NFL and having to try to turn the fire on an organization that ain't been about nothing since he was strapping the pads up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think maybe Florida. I think University of Florida might be a good spot for him because you never know. I mean, I know Billy Napier is turning things around down there a little bit with I know they had a rough start to the season with the Gators. They're turning things around a little bit. I don't think he'd ever go to Florida State, just how the whole first situation went when he ended up at Jackson.
You know what? No one's brought that up because that's Florida State's the first place people land on when they talk about
but I think
where we go.
One thing I've noticed and learned and watched about Deion Primetime Sanders, he never forgets. He never forgets.
You do have an elephant memory,
and he's very vengeful, especially when he feels like someone wronged him or didn't give him a shot. And he remembers that forever. And I think he believes that university didn't believe in him at the time to be the guy to change or to save their program. Then they went with Norvell, and they had a good last season. But ever that last season was really the outlier in Norvell's tenure.
Yeah, and they were heavy in the portal too. They lost a lot of kids to the NFL, and
and I just don't think it's a good fit for him to go to the NFL. Just the way his passion and fire for the game, I feel like it's a little bit too intense for the NFL level, because a head coach at the NFL level, I think, is more of a CEO. And I think Prime is really more of a coach, like a football coach.
That makes sense. if I had to choose between the two, I mean, the Dallas situation, they're kind of bottoming out. They went 12-5 the past 3 years, and they didn't even do anything in the offseason. So we were all kind of like, what are they doing? And then they get curb stomped in the beginning of the year and just never recovered. Dak is out for the year. They waited too long to sign Dak and CeeDee Lamb to those extensions. It froze their money. So they couldn't do something like, I don't know, sign Derrick Henry, who lives in Dallas in the offseason, who works out in Dallas. Could have took a lot of pressure off of Dak Prescott. They don't have a running game right now. They could have easily signed Derrick Henry for $7 million a year or whatever and been fine, but they didn't even offer him. So, like, it's stuff like that. Yes, he could kind of be the conduit between Jerry Jones and the public where Jerry don't have to talk as much. I think Jerry would respect Deion more than he would a lot of other coaches that would come in there. And Jerry Jones is all about, even win or lose, the Dallas Cowboys, if they're leading off First Take and Get Up and the talk shows or whatever, then they're still relevant. They're still being talked about, even though they haven't won anything since I was in high school. So it's a situation that was he wanting that pressure? And Deion, I keep remembering Deion saying, hold on, let me hit my little.
Do you believe?
I keep remembering Deion saying he mainly does this for the kids. Like, he coaches for the kids. That's why he does it. He feels like it's his mission, like from God, to lean on these kids. And
real quick on that point, I know people are going to say, well, then why did he bounce out of Jackson? And why did he bounce from the high school? Well, of course, there's bigger opportunities that you take. But every step he's taken, he's been able to affect more kids. And that's just what it is, because when you go from a high school level to a CS roster, you got more players, more kids who have been affected. But when you go and then when you go from SCS to FBS, more players, more roster spots. You know what I'm saying? Your reach is grander, it's more vast. And yeah, he's done a lot of great things in Colorado. I mean, the turnaround has been unprecedented, nothing like we've really ever seen before, especially with the format now, the 12-team playoff, them, controlling their own destiny and being really 3 wins away from a playoff berth.
I'm excited.
It's unbelievable. And I think they're going to get in, honestly, because I think BYU is going to struggle again this week against Arizona State. I think Colorado will beat Kansas. And then I can't remember who they got the last game of the year. I know they got Kansas this week.
That's a big one.
It might be Arizona State the last game of the year, but regardless, all they got to do is win the 2 regular season games. These last 2 regular season games, then they're locked in the Big 12 championship. And even then, there's a scenario that if BYU loses. And BYU loses and Arizona State loses, they can still get in the Big 12 championship with 3 losses, and then you can still get in the playoff. So it's a lot. It's a lot going on.
I'm excited because I
love how college football is.
Yeah, I just adding Colorado and Deion into that mix because half the field, it feels like it's going to be SEC teams pretty much. Like the way I'm looking at the AP top 10 or whatever right now, half of it is Bama, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Georgia. Like all these teams are going to get in. Like.
It's a lot of crossover still left over. So something like Ole Miss, I think Ole Miss, they probably going to be on the outside looking in.
There's some knockout rounds coming up here at the bottom of November.
Ole Miss is going to be on the outside looking in. I have a hard time saying this. People probably aren't going to believe me, but I don't think Texas gets in either.
Really?
I don't.
Who are they losing to?
They still got A&M on the schedule. They got Kentucky this week and A&M. And Kentucky almost beat Georgia, then beat Ole Miss the next week. And then they got A&M to end the season. And then they still have to win the SEC championship because Texas already has 2 losses.
True. So you say like a 3-loss Texas team in that scenario wouldn't get in. Yeah. I think the only 3-loss team that could really get in would be like an Alabama Alabama with Nick Saban coaching, not with the new guy. Like with Saban, I feel like they could have got him.
So Alabama, because they lost to Vanderbilt. That's their only loss, right?
Yes, it is.
So they lost to Vanderbilt. That's their only loss. I'm not sure who they got left on the schedule. Let's see real quick.
Wait, didn't they lose to Georgia?
No, they beat Georgia. They held on.
Yeah, that's right.
They held on to beat Georgia.
So yeah, that'll be fun as we get closer to
this weekend because they just beat the doors off of LSU. They got Oklahoma. They got Oklahoma and Auburn. 2 bad football teams left.
They'll be good to go.
They've only lost 1 game this year, and so it's going to be very interesting to see how this goes with this playoff and how it shakes out and what everything looks like. But I'm very excited to see The Big Ten is going to be very strong. I think Oregon's in. I think Penn State is kind of pigeonholed their way into being in without really a good win on the season.
Yeah, they ain't played anybody. That's crazy.
So Oregon's probably going to get in. Penn State's probably getting in. Ohio State probably gets in. And then so that's 3 there. I would say I like Alabama to get in from the SEC. I like Tennessee to get in from the SEC, and I like this third one is kind of tricky.
Georgia,
maybe, or
Tennessee.
I already got Tennessee in. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So maybe it's only two SEC schools. Because, like I said, Texas. People are going to say Texas, but I don't think they get in. I just don't.
Wow, they're ranked number 2 right now in the AP poll, or 3, if I'm not mistaken, in the AP poll, behind Oregon, undefeated Oregon, 11-0 Oregon, and Ohio State. Ohio State, they're playing 5th ranked undefeated Indiana this Saturday.
Ooh, that's who I was missing. Indiana. I like Indiana.
Really?
I really, really like Indiana.
Yeah, that's a trip. The Indiana is 10-0 whatever it is.
They playing real football, brother.
Yeah,
real football.
This is the time of the year when it starts getting cold. You start realizing who wants to tackle, who don't want to tackle. We can see that on Friday. And then the third thing that I love / hated this weekend in the NFL, we had a lot of divisional rivalry type games going on and big clashes. And the 3 I wanted to highlight because I really want to ask, who would you rather play? And I'm gonna add a third team in here, and I didn't mention before we came on. The Steelers beat the Ravens without scoring a touchdown, 18-16. And I'm sure you watched that game. You're a Ravens guy. The Detroit Lions, 52-6 over the Jacksonville Jaguars. They literally did not punt in that game. They had 7 straight touchdowns and then a field goal, and I think a kneel down to end the game.
Yeah,
just running over folks. And then, of course, the marquee matchup, the Bills beating the Chiefs, giving them their first loss of the season, 30-21. Josh Allen went 27 for 40 for 260 yards and a touchdown. The Bills are rolling right now. They're 5-0 at home. Again, the Steelers, they're rolling right now too. They're 8-2, 4-1 at home. And never doubt a Mike Tomlin team. For everybody who was saying that Mike Tomlin needs to be fired last year, you should be ashamed of yourselves. And then Dan Campbell and these Lions, man, 9-1, 4-1 at home. They're like an 8-game win streak, if I'm not mistaken. Just blowing the doors off everybody. Jared Goff went for 412 yards and 4 touchdowns on Sunday. They've got the dual back system going on. They've got 2 or 3 really good wide receivers. The defense doesn't even have their best player. Aiden Hutchinson's been out for a couple of weeks with a season-ending injury. My question to you, if you were an NFL franchise, who would you rather play? Would you rather play the Bills, the Lions, or the Steelers? Because all 3 present different problems.
Honestly, I don't care anything about the Bills or the Steelers, really. The Lions would be the answer I don't want to play.
You don't want to play?
Yeah, the Bills don't scare me whatsoever.
No. Well, they don't scare me, but
they don't scare me.
They weren't supposed to be this good.
It's Josh Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen,
and that's it.
He's
having or no?
He's kind of having a 2015 Cam Newton type year, to be honest, because they weren't picked to win that division. They weren't picked to be 9-2 or whatever at this point of the season, and a lot of it is Josh Allen playing freer. And I say 2015 Cam Newton year because it's the same thing. It's literally the exact same situation. The year before, Cam Newton had Steve Smith. They cut Steve Smith or sent him off or whatever it ended up being. He ends up going to Baltimore. And the next year, people are like, well, Carolina could be that good because he don't have his number 1 wide receiver. It actually opened up the offense, and he was able to pepper it around all over the place instead of just trying to force it to him. Same thing in Buffalo with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. It's almost like they got better addition by subtraction by sending Stephon Diggs on. Now, they lucked out. They got Amari Cooper for like a bag of peanuts or whatever in a trade. And I don't know how they ended up getting him for like a 4th rounder or something like that.
Yeah.
And he showed up pretty big on Sunday with a couple big chunk plays. The Bills need to win in January. Like, that's kind of how I'm looking at it with them. Like, the Bills need to win in January. I'm not going to doubt the Steelers. I don't know how they're doing this other than the fact that it's Mike Tomlin kind of overseeing everything. But their defense is top notch. They have a good run game. And Russell Wilson has proven if he's in a situation where he has a good defense, a good run game, and an offensive line in front of him, he'll get you wins. That's literally Seattle. Like, that's literally what he had in Seattle. Now he's got it in Pittsburgh. And Tomlin's kind of using Fields too, because I don't know if you saw at the end of that game, they brought Fields out to kind of ice it and run. They did like a quarterback bootleg to the left to get the first down, something that Russell Wilson can't do, but Justin Fields absolutely can. He got it. They iced the game. Game's over. Are you worried about your Ravens at all?
Now when it comes to them other two teams.
What, the Bills or the Steelers?
The Steelers? No, I'm not.
Okay.
I think I'm more concerned about the kicking situation in Baltimore. This is a real problem now. Justin Tucker has missed 20 kicks since 2022.
He was I just Eddie Pinero. He just overtook him. It's like, what?
And the thing is, there's no way it's really gonna be tough for Tucker to get that title back because he's got like 250 more attempts than Eddie Pinero.
Yeah, literally.
Like you're not gonna be able to uptick that percentage wise with those makes.
What's the deal? What's going on? Is he hurt?
Okay, so nobody really knows. The only thing that I can really try to conclude and say is that Sam Cook, who was our longtime punter, he retired. Our punter holder, he retired in 2021. We drafted a new punter, Jordan Stout, who's a very good punter. He's been taking over as the holder since 2022, and that's when kind of the things kind of derailed. I mean, it was the middle of the season last year, and a lot of my friends that I have that are Ravens fans, they'll tell you I've been saying it's time to look at a new kicking option since the middle of last year, just because I saw the writing on the wall. Like something just didn't look right and wasn't feeling right about the kicks. There was starting to be more movement in the flight path of the ball. That was one thing Justin Tucker was super known for, just a still flight of the ball from foot to uprights. No movement, no variance whatsoever. And the ball starting to flutter a little bit. It was starting to draw, starting to cut a little bit. And started to miss more field goals, looked like he was leaving some of the longer ones short. And at this point now, it's so deep in his own head, I don't know if we'll be able to salvage. So, and that's really going to be that's what cost us the games. That's what cost the Ravens the game Sunday. He missed 2 field goals. They lost by 2.
So I'm not worried about the Ravens because I feel like the losses they had, the 3 losses they've had so far, they were all games where they kind of forgot Derrick Henry was on the team for some reason.
And that's part of it too. But I mean, this kicking thing goes back longer than Derrick Henry's been on the roster. He missed the kick in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, that's true. And then one of those 3 losses was to Kansas City by a toenail the first week of the season. So it's like
he missed the kick in that game too.
Yeah,
so it's almost every game Justin Tucker misses any type of kick, the Ravens lose.
Y'all lose the game.
It's almost scientific.
That's not good. That is not a good formula, especially going into November, December with these the second half of this.
The one thing I was optimistic about was Sunday. The defense really, really looked strong. First time pretty much all year that the defense looked like the team that we were putting out on the field all last season. So that was good. But this kicking situation is really bad. Lamar Jackson did not have a good game on Sunday. His tape was really bad. He missed a lot of open guys, a lot of open receivers, just off of simple reads, not even the throws, just the reads he wasn't making. And then I think there's some type of dark voodoo magic going on in Pittsburgh because every time the Ravens play in Pittsburgh, it's like some fluky tip ball interception, strip interception. Derrick Henry fumbles for the first time in 500 carries.
Yeah,
like it's just always something stupid like that. So I don't know.
It's something about that.
Last year in Pittsburgh, it was 5 drops. 2 of them were touchdowns. Like it's just always something about Pittsburgh that's weird.
Don't let Mike Tomlin have a 6-7 game lead.
They've won 2 games this year and hadn't scored a touchdown. Like that's not sustainable.
I've got Steeler friends. JP Mundy. He's a huge Steeler fan. He was calling for Mike Tomlin's head last year. Like we need to fire him. I'm like, you don't realize how lucky you are to have a Mike Tomlin.
I take him. Give him Harbaugh. Give me Tomlin.
Yeah, we'll take Mike Tomlin right now. Please give him to us. Like, come on.
We can swap. You can take Harbaugh. I'll take Tomlin. I'll bet you.
We'll make that trade.
We win the Super Bowl right now. Yeah, we win the Super Bowl this year.
You could probably put Mike Tomlin on 20 NFL teams, and they're going to make the playoffs, in my opinion, just because of who he is and just the conviction of the man. And like he knows what he wants. He knows who he is, and it just spills out to his team.
He wants to.
Yeah, like it's just. And I love him at the podium. You can't slide a slick question past Mike Tomlin. He's going to answer it back slickly. He's going to give it back to you the way you gave it to him. So we've been talking the graces of Mike Tomlin for years. And for Steelers fans, take it from me, I'm a Panther fan. It's only been around less than 30 years. They've gone through 1 billion coaches. Y'all have had 3 coaches in like 60 years. Like that's saying a lot. Like, and you've won a bunch of rings in that period of time. Don't take it for granted. Do not take it for granted because it can be gone like that. And once it's gone, you're in this weird place of this void where teams are. Where the Panthers are trying to get out of it. But
speaking of void,
what?
BY under center again against the Chiefs.
We just kind of. I just did believe in Panthers an hour ago. We kind of
Bryce Young legacy game. Bryce Young legacy game.
Let's just see what he do. Because
legacy game right here.
Look, the Chiefs can be had, like, because they've almost lost a bunch of these games. Like I know they're the last undefeated team, but
I don't know if y'all can have them, but they can.
Yeah, I don't know if you have them, but it's there. And a fun fact: Pat Mahomes has turned the ball over in every single game he's played in this year, except for 2. So he's being loose with the ball. He threw an interception second play of the game on on Sunday. Like
he did.
They've just been. I don't want to say that the Chiefs have been lucky because that just don't sound right.
But it is the truth.
Keep in mind, they have more mileage on them than any other NFL team. They're the 2-time defending Super Bowl champions. They've played more actual minutes than any other team in football the past 2.5 years, and I think it's starting to show a little bit.
In terms of 5 years, honestly.
Yeah, really. If you really want to go back that far, the core of this team. Now they are going to get some people back. I don't think Pacheco's going to be back this Sunday. Jonathan Brooks is supposed to have his debut with the Panthers this Sunday. Bryce,
we say for no reason. Guess what? It's the Chuba Show, baby. And I've been telling you forever and ever. I say it's the Chuba Show.
I love Chuba.
You can bring in as many guys as you want. Bring them in.
Well, I do want the 2-back system. That Carolina, because somebody was asking me, does that work? I'm like, this the Panthers. It's been that way since '95. They've always had a 2-back system. Deshaun Foster and Stephen Davis, my man Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams, Stu and Christian McCaffrey. Like when we have a good run game, there's 2 of them back there running. And Miles Sanders ain't even going to play, I think is what Dave Canales said. So it's going to be Hubbard and Brooks running the ball. And if they want to keep Pat Mahomes on the sideline, hey, run the football. Like, I mean, Chuba's averaging 5 yards a carry. He's got 800-something yards this season. Like, he's killing it. Yeah, he deserved the money. Underrated. So, yes, it's very underrated. And I'm glad they gave him the money when he did. I'm hoping they extend J.C. Horn as well. I like that they're starting to build a foundation because we haven't done that since Tepper bought the team. There's been no foundation. They just kind of strip it to the studs and then try to just make it look pretty. They're really trying to strip it all down and then build it back up. Will Bryce Young be here next year? I have no idea. I've gotten Twitter arguments about that for the past month. I ain't doing that no more because I have no clue what they're going to do with this kid or what he's going to do. But people need to keep in mind, yes, he was drafted number 1 overall, but he may not be a game changer like people think he is. He might just be a game manager, and that's fine. Jared Goff is a game manager. He threw 4 touchdowns on Sunday. It's okay to be a game manager. There's only me and Stu were talking this last week. There's only probably 4 elite quarterbacks in the entire league, really. People use the word elite way too much nowadays to describe stuff. Yeah. And really elite, you're talking Mahomes, Allen, Jackson. Who am I forgetting?
Joe.
Would you consider because he's leading a bunch of categories. Now, I know the team stinks, but he's leading all these. It's crazy. Yeah, I'd put Joe Burrow there. So that's 4 right there. And then you get into the weeds with
pretty good, very good.
Yeah, very good to you know what I mean? So if Bryce turns into a great game manager where they can build around him like the San Francisco 49ers of the past, so be it. That's fine. That's great, actually. I mean, he didn't need to put the team on his back. And I think people are expecting him to put the team on his back. I don't think he was ever that player. So we'll see. Canales just said he's going to be starting Sunday, and that's a 1:00 game on CBS. You can actually watch the Believe in Panthers episode we just did, me and Stu, about an hour ago. It's on the YouTube channel for Tobacco Road Sports Radio, so it's out now. The audio will be out on Believe here shortly. But I got to get you guys out of here. We're past your lunch. You got to get back to your cubicles or wherever you're working at and get hopping. I know Jaelen got a bunch of stuff going on because we are in the middle of crossover season. It's when football and basketball kind of melt into this one thing in November, and everybody's got 5 places they need to be at the same time. I'm trying to look at my whiteboard over in the corner because I have it written down where I'm supposed to be, just so I can keep track of where I'm supposed to be at, and I still need to go back and add stuff.
Hey, you got that Kendrick commitment on your list?
Say what now?
Kendrick Harrison committing next Saturday, the 30th.
Thought about going out there, but I heard the reception's horrible in Reedsville, like the Wi-Fi reception. I don't know. That's why I haven't really gone through the football.
Suck. I know you should be all right though.
I might check into that. I don't do a lot of stuff in Reedsville, although we did do Rockingham baseball last spring, their home games, and the Wi-Fi was fine. So I might do it. We were at Grimsley for Faison's announcement. So yeah, I'm hoping it's Carolina. I really hope he picks Carolina for both football and basketball. Let's do it.
Both of them coaches might be gone by the time he get there.
Hey, Hubert ain't going nowhere. What you talking about? Hubert ain't going nowhere. Where Hubert going? Where's Hubert going? Where is Hubert going?
You know where I've been.
Hubert ain't going nowhere. Now, Mac Brown might get pushed out. The man's 72. Like, that might happen, but yeah, Hebron ain't going nowhere, man. Carolina gonna win the ACC this year. Like we'll chop that. Yeah, we're gonna end it right there. We're gonna chop that up. We'll chop that up when Jaelen comes back in the house. We got a special high school football playoff edition for Wednesday. Mark Pruitt from the Winston Journal will be in the house.
You know, he's not like if he go to Carolina, it won't be this. It'll be.
Yeah, he's a junior. Yeah, it's still gonna be. Yeah, Hubert's still gonna be there. Hubert's still gonna be there. Like. Okay. What are you talking about? We're gonna be there. But high school football, Mark's big three for this upcoming Friday. Pretty sure a little game going on in Kernersville. He'll probably one of the ones he's talking about, and another little game over in Greensboro. He'll probably talk about as well. So catch that preview tomorrow, and then Friday we'll have our Supersized Friday. So we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. For Jaelen Gilkey from WFMY Sports, this is Desmond Johnson signing off. We will see you guys.